Hello and welcome to Second Amendment Sis. I'm Stephanie Rivers and I'm with my co-host Phyllis Petit. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
All is well, thanks. So you've had a good week?
Yes, I'm adjusting to this time change. I
I
think
guess
I
it's
like it better. I do like longer days.
yeah, and a lot of people are saying that aren't they supposed to be voting on that in Congress
They
to
did
make it
yesterday.
permanent?
Yes,
Well,
I think it was yesterday or the day before. So now has the House did it. Now the Senate has to.
or the
Or
Senate and then the House, something
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
I can't remember.
So one of them is supposed to be voting to the doing
Yeah,
their part to vote. And I
yeah.
mean,
One already has, so we waiting on the other one. I think it's gonna stick.
well, I know people with kids are talking about. I guess it with spring ahead when their kids go to school, they're in the dark, or there's always somebody who's going to be against. You can never please everybody. So,
Mhm.
there's always some reason as to why it shouldn't happen or should happen.
Yeah.
But at any rate, yeah, one of those things. So, you're still trying to catch up, huh?
I don't know if it's catch up or get my rest because I'm used to. So now, if I'm up at 2 a.m., it used to be just 1 a.m., right? But I'm not sleepy yet. So I'm like, and by the time I finish with work and all that, and I look up and it's 10 o'clock before I know it. I'm like, my goodness, but it's just getting used to it. It seems like because it got dark quick a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
Um, of course, it seemed like the night was longer and it didn't go by as fast. My days go by fast now, for real.
You know what? I don't even think about that. I'm like, okay, whatever time it is, I'm gonna do what I have to do, no
I
matter
think
what's going on outside, and
you
and that's that. And whenever it's time to get up, whether it's dark or light, I still got to get up. So
when you
I'm
got
like,
when you got multiple jobs like a Jamaican like me, you be like, wait a minute, hold on, what time is it?
I know, right?
Before you know it, because I usually don't get a chance to read all of my what I call my hot topics for the day until I wind down for the evening and get ready to just say, okay, now I can stop moving. And this morning, I saw an article that we were talking about discussing today, and that is Congressman Beto O'Rourke and his flip flop about citizens owning heavy, um, what he called it, firearms, AKs and ARs. His thing
Mm-hmm.
previously that he didn't believe that the citizens, everyday citizens, should own them, and so of course our perception is okay. He's going the opposite direction of the 2A community. So of course, once he starts to lose favor amongst the masses in Texas, then he flip flops and says, "Well, I'm not going to go and take them away." But man, we don't believe you. We don't believe you.
So he is running for
Governor.
governor in the state of Texas. Now he ran for what? He ran for what's his name's Senate seat before.
Mhm.
What's the dude's name? Who's the senator?
See, see,
Ted Cruz. He
Ted
ran for Ted Cruz.
Cruz.
He ran for his seat as senator and lost by a close margin. So
Mhm.
now I guess he's going after the governor's seat.
Yeah.
And yeah, so now like you said, they most politicians say what they need to say to get elected, and then from there, you ain't no telling what's gonna happen. So
Exactly.
I barely pay attention to what they say. But if he's going to run this against Greg Abbott, the current governor, that would be the person to run against, I guess. So
Yes.
um,
And now
he.
there's a what is her name? Out in Fort Worth, Betsy Price. She's
Uh-huh.
she's also running, but she also publicly said that she was an opponent of Black Lives Matter. And when they speak of that, I don't know if they mean the Black Lives Matter as in its entirety, or the organization, which has come under quite a bit of
Of
scrutiny.
scrutiny and
Yeah,
criticism, yeah.
yes,
Because, well, I mean, of course, I don't know what she means specifically, but I would think, in general, the concept that Black Lives Matter, and not necessarily
the
the
organization.
right, the
Mhm.
um organization. So yeah, so I guess this I do try to keep up with the politics, and I have noticed, it's just so much, what's the word? Um just doing, one thing, saying one thing, doing another, being
There's lying,
hypocritical. Yeah,
flat out lying.
um so I just try not to, I see a lot of Ukraine things online, and the Ukraine flag. I drove by somewhere today, downtown, near downtown Dallas. They had the Ukraine
Really?
flag. Girl, is the flag blue and yellow, right?
I don't know.
I believe it is. So yeah, as a matter of fact, all you got to do is put what Ukraine in your
Oh, yeah.
phone.
It's popping
And
up on everything.
let's see. I'm gonna say put in Ukraine, see what happened. Yep, that's it. The little blue flag came up. So yeah, blue and yellow flag. So
Yeah.
yeah, they had up the Ukraine flag. I'm like, okay, y'all,
And I
okay.
try not to watch the news because I'm like, I can have days where I go days without even turning my TV on, actually. And I have a friend that does not understand the concept of that. Like, how do you do that? I'm like, easy, and it keeps you stress free. Because in the past 2 years, we have just been, bound up so tight that every time
Hmm.
you turn on the news, it's something so drastic, more drastic than the last event, you know. And I'm just like, I don't want to know. If something's happening, I'll listen for the sirens. We'll hit the bunker, and that's just what it's gonna be.
Right. And I think it's by design that one thing, is more alarming than the next, more alarming than the next. And before you know it, that's leading you to somewhere. I don't know where yet, but
Mhm.
yeah. So in fact, I have a friend of mine who she works from home. She's a home health care worker. I think that's the
Mhm.
term. And so she has all day to watch the
Oh,
news
yeah.
channels. Girl, when you call her, she just up. Her voice is at a 10. What they talk about now? Her high blood pressure be up.
Bound up.
Like,
It's bound up.
girl,
You
why
just
do you do this to
you
yourself?
walk out with your fist balled up. I'm telling you, you can't watch the news. And heaven forbid I see someone of color get either defending themselves, and then they get jammed up, for defending themselves, or they get shot innocently. Like, I'm over that whole thing, and that's why I avoid the news and news clips, and even in social media, the clips that people post. And sometimes I can see what's about to come. I just stop. I just back out. Just back out. I'm like,
Right.
I'm doing this today. I know I don't want to be angry, so I'm just gonna back out. I don't want to see it.
And I think a lot of us need to think, do a lot more thinking ahead of time before we act, and before we just are led like little puppies down the path. And we
Mhm.
need to stop and think. So I wanted to ask you, a lot of us, because we are proponents of the um, Second Amendment, and we want people to learn safety regulations and to learn how to properly use their weapons to defend themselves and their family.
Mhm.
And but at the same time, there are a lot of people, just like you said, who get um, charged, who
Mhm.
become targets of the justice system when they use their Second Amendment rights
Mhm.
to defend themselves. And so, have you thought about that beyond? We're out, we want to get ready and stay ready, but
Mhm.
then when act on that, what happens then? When you could be actually charged with a felony, with a crime for
Mhm.
defending yourself.
Exactly.
Um,
Well, that's why I keep me some prepaid legal, and I think that everyone should have the insurance in the event that you do have to defend yourself, so that you can, first of all, so you don't have to spend nights upon nights in jail, and get licensed, because that will also show that you're a responsible um, gun owner, and making sure you understand the type of ammunition that you have loaded into that firearm. You know, until recently, I didn't think about it until it was brought to my attention that,
mhm,
there are different forms of ammunition, like our guest Oren Fredericks from Fredericks Security Solutions explained.
mhm,
I went and I purchased specific ammunition for my self defense, not just for when I'm at the range, because of course that goes further than, it goes beyond what it hits. It's going to keep going until it stops. Self defense is going to impact and, stop. So I do think that it's a frightening thought, you know, to think that I just watched a video yesterday, and the video showed two gentlemen, I ain't gonna say gentlemen, two thugs trying to kick in someone's door.
oh
One
yeah,
kicking facing the door, and the other one turned around and started kicking with his foot, kicking back behind him. They kicked
mhm,
twice, and the next thing you knew, you heard a gunshot from inside. And one of the guys said, "Oh shit, they got a gun." Now both of them have guns, but they took on off. All they had to fire was one shot, and they took off. So either they didn't study their victim, you know, either it was totally random, they assumed that this person would not have a gun, and I heard a female's voice. So I don't, from inside the home, and then the video ended, right?
mhm.
So in that case, like, if she had hit one of them, and because he's outside the door, she could face charges because he never made it in, but he was attempting to get in.
And you know what though? There are, and gun laws are different from state to state. But
Mhm.
in the state of Florida, I've seen a lot of times
Oh,
where people who shoot what they call a warning shot,
hmm,
whether it's in the air and nobody gets hurt, or whether they shoot, like you said, at someone, you could be charged with aggravated assault
yeah,
and
murder,
convicted,
yes.
and convicted and go to prison when you just were your intentions were to scare the person, or like you
Mhm.
said, they were on the outside, and you might have to wait until they get in or whatever. you,
I
but you
ain't
don't want to
waiting.
do that because you're
I'm
like,
not
I'm
waiting.
afraid.
Yeah, I am
Right.
not waiting. Now, several years ago, there was a lady in Florida who fired a warning shot at her abusive husband, who had been abusing her for years. And
Hmm.
she only fired shots at him, and they still locked her up for 20 plus years. And
Yeah.
she
And
had a record, a history. They had a paper trail of what she'd been through with this man. And what about to stand your ground for that?
right now, I looked up. There are, like I said, laws are different. I am
Mhm.
going to try to share something on my screen. Let me see if I can go to it right fast. That talked about, the same day that Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty of his murder charges, there was,
When
okay,
the
I'm
police
just
did
trying to
the
look
no
for
knock
it.
warrant, or which
You
one?
said,
There were so many things that happened that day within that week.
all right, let me see if it's showing it. Hold
I
on, I'm
see your
trying to get out.
screen.
Okay, I'm just trying to go back to it. Okay, so saying that this guy, he lived in, it was in Florida. Let me scroll down. His name is uh, Andrew Coffey the Fourth.
Mhm.
Apparently, it was kind of very similar to the Breonna Taylor case in
Yeah.
Louisville, Kentucky, whereby around 5 a.m. Deputies were doing a raid or trying to serve a search warrant, or says a raid in his
Mhm.
house, suspecting his father of being a drug dealer and a drug trafficker. And the son, Andrew Coffey the Fourth, had no idea what was going on. Somebody jumping through his window. He starts shooting at the intruders, and his girlfriend ends up getting killed in the crossfire because the officers shot back.
But why
Now,
are they coming through the window?
girl, I don't know, but
No sense.
let's keep going. I know. And so, right, that's another, indication to you as a homeowner, something is not right if people are
Mhm.
coming through the window. And so this happened in 2017. Do you know they immediately did not, hold the law enforcement officers who did the shooting of his girlfriend and coming through the window and all of that?
Mhm.
They were found not liable for anything, but they charged Andrew Coffey the Fourth with murder of his murder of his girlfriend. So they put that death on him and then charged him with attempted murder. So it says though that the jury determined that Coffey acted in self-defense
Yeah.
when firing at law enforcement because he later on said, I had no idea who the people were, and they claimed they said police, police, but he was like, I didn't hear you say police. It's 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm asleep,
And y'all
and
coming through the window?
y'all coming through the window. So he was found not guilty, but it took, now this
All of
happened in 2017, so that's 5 years
yeah.
that he had this hanging over him. And so there's a chance that you could get caught up in charges. And what do you do in the meantime? Even though you know you're not guilty and you hope the jury finds you not guilty, you got to find an attorney to
Mhm.
to defend you. You have to pay that attorney. And so that's why I, am a proponent of having having some type of legal
Yes.
um
Firearm legal defense.
right.
Firearm legal defense. Yes.
And now a lot of homeowners policies, insurance policies, have that clause, because if you have, weapons as part of your list of items,
Yes.
then but it's, you got to check. Does my homeowner's insurance
You have to
cover
ask.
me in the case? Right. You got to check, you got to
If
ask.
you don't say, they won't tell you. They don't just
Oh,
add the coverage. They don't.
of
It's not
course.
just standard. You definitely have to ask.
And
Mhm.
so I asked, and my homeowner's insurance policy did not cover it. So I went and got a special policy, and just the policy without going in, because I'm not, advocating for this particular company, but the policy is a certain amount of money that will go towards my defense in the chance that I am charged with a felony. As long as I legally own my weapon and I've defended
Mhm.
myself due to the law. But again, the law is not going to keep you from being charged. It
Exactly.
might it might years later down the line, after you done lost your mind and all your money, find
Mhm.
you not guilty.
Yes,
But in the
you go to
meantime,
jail, you get a bond, you go to jail. You got to come up with the money to bond out. And then when they let you out on bond, they have all these stipulations. And
Correct.
a lot of people don't realize that all of that can be put on your credit profile. So in the meantime, if you're looking for a job or somewhere to live, that can show up and keep you from getting that new job or that place to live. It railroads your entire life until it's over. And then after, because that's going to follow you. It's in every newspaper article, digital
Right.
and on paper. And there's going to be people that don't believe that you're not guilty, you know.
Right.
So it's tough. Having insurance, having a license, and having some prepaid legal defense. I mean, firearm legal defense is what I have. I used to have something else, but I advise everybody, pay the $25 a month, whatever it is. Nowadays, that ain't but a quarter tank of gas.
Girl, you know what? Speaking of gas, I went and it took $52 to fill up my tank, and it was just at a quarter. So ain't no telling it'd have been like
Mhm.
$75. And then I
In the
pushed for the
Mustang?
receipt, huh?
In the Mustang?
Oh no, in my
Cover.
Pontiac, I have a Pontiac GC.
Okay.
G6.
Okay.
Pontiac G6. Now but that tank on the Mustang is just as big. But anyway, $50, and I pushed for my receipt because I like to write my stuff off because I have a home-based business. Girl, do you know it
Mhm.
was like, no, we're not giving out receipts. Girl, I had to go in and stand in line, was in a hurry already, had to go stand in line for my receipt. I'm like, y'all ain't about to charge me this much for gas and I don't get no receipt. But anyway,
I
yeah,
would
it's so it's worth it to
too.
have the legal protection, because until you need it, you're like, oh, I don't want to pay that. But then if your life is on the line, you're like, all I had to pay
Yeah,
was
I find it at
$25.
$25 a month. Yeah, it's worth it. And as it is, I mean, we already feel like the law is not on our side, you know.
Right, right.
And so the last thing I want to do is to have that happen to me, and then be sitting and waiting for the police to show up to take me to jail when they arrive, because this person is laying outside my door or halfway in the door or wherever they're laying at. And I know I was defending myself, but the protocol is that I go to jail.
And you know what? I listen to a lot of YouTube videos from attorneys who say, don't feel like you have to give a statement right away,
I'm not
because
saying nothing.
when cops are involved in questionable shootings of citizens, they don't make a statement right away. Girl, we got to wait a
They
week or
never
two.
make it. The cop, whatever cop shoots somebody, he shuts up.
Exactly.
He don't
And
say a
so
word till he go to trial. And he don't say nothing then.
and right, he goes to the police union. They got all
Mhm.
these lawyers that they work with. So we need to put ourselves in the same mind frame that you don't have to spill your guts right away just because you right and all of that. You're gonna get yourself
In
caught
criminal,
up in a
yeah,
trick bag
yeah,
trying
'cause-
to girl. So
yeah,
just say
you can
I
get some good
prefer not to make
sense.
a statement
I'm not even
until I
saying
talk to
that.
my attorney.
I'm
Uh,
not
well,
saying
you,
that.
well, they're gonna ask you to make a statement, so you just say,
No,
"I ain't making
by
none."
the time they get to my house, I have a card in here somewhere that
Oh,
says
they
I can
say,
see it. It's in here somewhere because I got one that says if you need anything from me, reconsider. I got one in here somewhere. Yeah, because I'm not saying anything. Mm-mm. Nope, you're not getting that out of me. Because once they get you to talking, they just keep pressuring you before you know it. That's how so many people get caught up. They
correct.
they become afraid because they don't know the law, and then they figure, well, they the police. I have to answer them. You don't have to say anything.
Mm-mm.
You don't
You
have
ain't
to
gotta
say
say nothing.
nothing. I'm gonna do like y'all do. I ain't saying nothing.
Correct. Not a
Look, next
thing.
time we come back from commercial. I'm gonna have some shrimp, a Coca-Cola. I want some McDonald's and call my people because I'm not talking to nobody about nothing. And can y'all get this man off my porch? You know, that's all I know. And I
Correct.
would, oh my goodness, it's unconscionable though that that in a self-defense that you wind up having a murder charge.
Now, there is such a thing, and I've been trying to look it up, and it's called immunity. What is it?
Quantified
Prosecute
immunity.
no, it's called prosecution immunity. Now we know qualified immunity is what cops get the benefit
Right.
of when they shoot people in the line of duty.
Mhm.
But there's something called prosecution immunity, which
Mhm.
means basically that when you are involved in a shooting and you feel like, and your attorney can prove that it was justified, when so if the cops show up and then they want to charge you with something, you of course will be charged if they want you to, but you don't necessarily have to wait for a DA to dismiss it or anything like that, because of the judge, or I'm sorry, your attorney will go to a judge to say, hey judge, this person is being charged with something, but based on the law they should have immunity from prosecution. And
Mhm.
so that a
Does it
judge
work
can
for us?
kind of jump, huh?
Does it work for us?
Well, and here's the thing, I've been trying to look it up. And you know what? That's just the thing. So many things, laws on the books, you think they're gonna work on your behalf, and then they don't. But there was a guy who spent over a year in jail because he was charged with shooting someone, and because they attacked him and he thought he was going to die. He shot them, they died. They cops put him in jail, charged him with either murder or manslaughter, and he couldn't make bond, so he was waiting for a judge to act on, to what's the word, not act, but waiting for a judge to decide if
Mhm.
he was covered under prosecution immunity. But
Mhm.
the judge took over a year. So this guy sat in jail without being able to make bond, waiting on a judge, black man, of course,
Mhm.
over a year while this judge waited and made it's kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna make you wait. Oh, I'm just
You
gonna make you
did.
wait. When good and
What you
well,
did.
you can see the paperwork right here. You see what's up. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
he didn't. And so,
That was his way
so
of making him pay one way or another.
or another, one way or another.
Right. And I know
So,
everyone can't keep their nose clean the rest of their, all their life. A lot of us, most of us have, right? And
right.
this is what I say to the younger generation, if I can stay out of trouble out of my life, surely you can. All you have to do is be a kid, go to school, you know, and when you see things going in one direction, go the opposite direction, because something so simple can turn your life all the way around. And like you said, you thinking, oh, I'll be out of here tonight. No, you won't.
Right.
No, you
Right.
won't, because you can't go unless the judge gives you a bail or a bond, you know.
Correct.
And if they think that, if they just want to give you a hard, you get those a-hole cops and judges. I've been in a courtroom waiting to testify because a neighbor got killed. And I mentioned it to my ex, and he wasn't there when it happened. When the police and all of them came at a later time to investigate, he tells them what I told him, and boom, guess who had to go to court?
You.
Me. Yes. And I was like, why did you tell them that? Because now I have that. They literally subpoenaed me to go. And it took up months of my life going back and forth to the courthouse, waiting on my turn to testify. And I wasn't even involved. Only the fact that I heard it, I heard the door being kicked in, I heard the gunshots. I look out the window, I see a guy running. So I'm like, I wonder what that was about, of course. So later I see all these lights flashing through my window, police lights, of course. I see police everywhere, crime scene tape. they're in the parking lot picking up money off the ground. And they were like going underneath my car. And I'm like, what they under my car for? So of course that night I didn't say anything, but I just said it to him. But him repeating what I said got me subpoenaed.
Mm.
You know, and
Yeah.
the car that they had, and they asked me, they was like, does this look like the person? I didn't see the face. All I saw was a tall man in a hoodie, but he, he was a slim build, and they were like, does this look like the silhouette that you, are you kidding me?
The silhouette. See,
Silhouette.
right. And then they're gonna hold that against you. Well, she said it was him, the silhouette. Well, yeah.
Yeah. I can't determine that. I was upstairs. He was down. All I could see was, from his head, downward. I could tell he was tall and slim build, but I didn't see a face. And honestly, the guy that they had looked much bigger, much bulkier,
Mm-hmm.
But, he wound up not being found guilty. So, and that's a scary feeling just going in there to testify,
Right.
I'm like, I don't want to be in here with this. This has nothing. I was so mad at him. I said, nobody told you to tell that.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was called for jury duty in a few weeks, next week, but I have it deferred because I'll be out of town. So when is the last time you have been called for jury duty? Because I've been called in the past 2 years, like 2 or 3 times.
Really? It's been a while. It's been, about 7 or 8 years.
See, that's not fair. I'm about to turn your name in, Phyllis. I'm about to turn your name in. Phyllis Petite need to be
what they got me going down there for. They don't want me down there because I'm gonna tell them, y'all wrong. Turn that lady loose.
Right. Right.
Wrong.
And you know what? I know that it's important for to have a diverse jury. And so I have no problem going to jury duty. But it always seems like they want you to come on I guess it's always an inconvenient time.
It's inconvenient, right? And I've been called. I got down there one time, and before I could even get in there and sit down good, they started telling people to go home. I was like, what?
Right. As you done got yourself all together to get down there, and now they like, never mind.
Right. And I'm like, I'm gonna go down here and say everything I shouldn't say so I can go home. But I didn't even get a chance to get in the seat and get comfortable before they were like, okay, you, everybody, if you don't get picked, if you don't call your number, you can go home. I'm like, I just got here. Are you kidding me? After all of this, but I was glad, Well, do I have to come back tomorrow? No. Cool. Give me my $10. I'm out. Isn't that what they give you? How much they give you? $10, $15?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure, but it ain't enough. I can say that. So we have Joyce. She's joining us. Joyce, do you want me to bring Joyce? Do you know Joyce?
Yes.
Okay, so
Hey,
let's bring in Joyce and see if she has a comment or a question for us tonight. Hey Joyce, you're on with Second Amendment Sis. What's going on in your life tonight? Nothing. So maybe you're working on your audio because we can't hear you.
If she opens up her Restream, then she should close her YouTube page.
Okay, so yeah, do one. Okay, so she decided she didn't want to talk. Oh, that's okay.
You may want to, but try. This
live streaming.
Yeah, it's a lot to navigate. Especially when you're doing it for the first time. It's almost like you have to do a practice run first, so you know what to do when you're actually in motion. So yes.
Yeah.
The self-defense shootings ending in murder charges. I think it's highly unfair. Recently, I had an associate lose her son, and the guy that shot her son claimed self-defense. And that's a tough one, like and as far as we're concerned, the guy was wrong. It was more premeditated than self-defense, because they were
So
having words back and forth, and he will come over here, come over here. And so her son was like, yeah, well, I'm on my way. And when he gets there, as soon as he steps out of the car, the guy shoots him and kills him. So you baited him to come, and then you sat outside your home and waited for him. You could have stayed in the house.
so did the cops charge him with anything?
Not that I know of. I do not know. But as far as I know, of course he claimed self-defense because the guy came to his residence. But
Mm-hmm.
my thing is, he could have stayed in his house.
Oh, of course, of
You
course.
baited him, you argued with him, tell him to come on, and then when he comes, you sitting outside waiting on him. Now, isn't that some form of premeditation?
You would think, and that's why I was asking, did they charge him? And maybe they're doing their investigation and research.
Mm-hmm.
But it is so yeah, it's just always something. And that's why you have to, like the rules of carrying a weapon say, don't pull it if you don't intend to shoot,
Mm-hmm.
don't point it and nothing you don't intend to shoot, keep your finger off the trigger, because
And don't let anybody coerce you. Or no, words are just words. If we just learn to walk away from simple things, you know, I'm not about to stand up and argue with somebody because they stepped on my shoe or bumped into me, or
right,
even if we're somewhere and you knock over my drink, oh, what, I can go buy another drink, but my life, my
right.
freedom it's not worth any of that. And with the younger generation, getting them to understand it's not so automatic when you say you were defending yourself. If you're in an argument with someone and you tell them, come on over here then, come on over, I bet you won't come. They come, you shoot them and kill them. That could go in either direction. According to the paper trail, you know, you could be completely in the wrong. And um, looking at a murder charge, I don't think people, but the younger generation and some of the older generation, being a hothead, get your thoughts together first, because there's a lot that comes with that. There is a
Right.
lot that comes with that, and you could be aiming for the leg to shoot somebody and shoot them in the leg, and they still die.
Correct, right. If you
You
hit
know,
the
finger.
correct artery. In fact, I was doing my training with my coach at the range yesterday, and so we're practicing on certain techniques. But he was like, I need you to do uh, rapid fire, because instead of what I was doing in his what he was telling me was, I would fire one time and then frame it back up or get it, back in target and shoot him
Mhm.
again and get it in target. He was like, no, because he might move. You're going to shoot somebody behind him. All of
Mhm.
that, 4 people going to be shot. He said,
Right.
if once you get it in target, go ahead and shoot, 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 shoot. So
Exactly.
you're more likely to shoot where you are aiming
Exactly.
instead of all, so that's something, I'm so meticulous sometimes. In fact, when I'm at the gym, in fact, and I'm, because I got girls, so many coaches, so much money I'm paying out, but anyway, another subject. Anyway, the coach at the gym was like, when you finish working out, just drop it. He was like, I'll get it. Cause girl, when I finished and I want to put it down right over here in this look, he was like, no, you wasting time. Just
Yeah.
go on and do it and get rid of it. And so that's like kind of like how I grew up, just, taking care to do it a certain way.
Mhm.
And I have to relearn in certain instances, that's not the best way, to handle yourself,
Exactly.
especially when you are target practicing.
Mhm.
Once you get in your sights, go ahead and get them bullets out there, because if you keep trying to frame up and people moving and running and all of this,
Mhm.
you end up doing more harm than what you intended.
Yes, one of my mentors, and we did the training class with Oren. He, he would have us, setting up, and he'd say threat, and if I wasn't ready, he's like, hit me in the back, boom, you dead, you dead,
Right?
like you are taking too long, you dead, you dead. I was like, oh man. So I had to get a lot faster and learning what my firearm will do and what it won't do, because and knowing the difference in a self-defense weapon, and because it does have a different trigger, and it gives you, a dual pull, because it gives you the second chance. Do I really want to fire this shot? So learning how my firearm is going to react, and feeling for the clicks in the reset, and I don't have to wait until it fully resets, so I can just keep going. So learning that, and thinking, I hope that when it's time for me to use it in a self-defense situation, that I can remember all that, because I'm just going to pull it and start squeezing.
Yeah, it's you got to remember your hand placement and the trigger and the wall and the target and this, that, and the third. Right. It's so much, which is another reason why people need to be trained.
Exactly.
It's too many people out here walking around who just went and bought a gun and have not had training day 1 hour. Okay.
That's what's frightening.
That's the scary part, isn't it?
It is. And even being in the range with someone, when I see these videos of people doing foolish things, I'm like, see, this is why I don't want to be next to these fools. They, a shell run down their shirt and they trying to reach for it and shoot themselves. Recently at one of the ranges here in locally, it was 2 different incidents where 2 different guys injured themselves, doing something foolish because of a shell flying, and it caught him, and he's trying to reach for it with his firearm still in his hand, and shot himself in the leg.
Oh Lord.
Exactly.
And you know what, B? I mean, it is, because I've had, like, I think I've worn a shirt like this to the range, and right. Well, see, and girl, I saw somebody in the indoor range of flip flops the other day. I'm like, she just don't know yet. But anyway, the shell.
There's all that metal and gun patterns. I don't even wear my shoes all through the house when I leave the range.
Oh yeah, I got some spray. I spray mine off. But you're right, you got to have certain attire. But when that hot shell hits you, it ain't gonna, burn like you said. Just know that's what it is. And you can take it a little bit while you continue to shoot, or put your weapon down, but just be smart. And so, yeah, you have to be smart about it.
I think the majority of 2 Second Amendment everyday carry citizens are very conscious, and at least try to. The ones that I know in the community that I know, they definitely concentrate on training and constant education, and teaching you, what it is you need to know. So I advise anybody, get that training, and if you have to save for it, to take a class, book your class, save for it. It is worth every bit of the money that you spend. If you spent the money on the gun, you can't be cheap when it comes to getting your education and continued education and training.
Amen.
Because if you don't use that skill, you're definitely going to lose that skill, just like anything else. And if you've got a firearm that's just sitting there rusting and dry, when it is time to use it, you won't be able to, or you'll hurt yourself using it.
Correct. So speaking of training, I know we have a couple of training sessions, classes coming up in the DFW area, as well as some competitions. So I know we're going to have some of those people on to promote their events. So who do we have coming up that has some trainings?
At the end of this month, Family Ties 2A out of Houston with Sister Stephanie Marie will be doing a all ladies handgun fundamentals training class for April the 2nd out at ETTS out in Waxahachie. You guys can go on to Second Amendment Sis Facebook page, Our Tribe Facebook page, Black Gun Owners, just about every one, or even on Family Ties 2A, and click onto the link, get signed up. And this class even comes with e-learning. So this will be for all ladies, whether you're licensed or not. And I think for those who may have a nervousness or insecurity about working with men, this sister is very, very, she is meticulous. She's all about safety, and she's all about continued education. And I think it'll be a phenomenal event for the ladies. So we won't be distracted by the pressures of men, because their approach can be a little different, So I think that it's pivotal for you to do that for yourself if you're interested or slightly interested. And even for those people, some people are uncomfortable, period, until they're actually around it.
Right.
And then, of course, later in April on Easter Sunday, we have the Texas T All Ladies Tactical Pistol Competition. All ladies, and there's still a few spots left. So you can also go on to the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, who is sponsoring that competition. You can go on their page, reach out to them, or on our page, Second Amendment Sis, and get signed up. Now I think that's going to be phenomenal and fun, because then the guys get to sit back and watch us do what we do. I imagine they'll be placing some bets on the side.
So are you going to participate in that? I was looking for the flyer.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
I am. Oh yes, I love a good competition.
As a matter of fact, I was at the
time with my firearm and learning how to work it and use it properly to do what I needed to do. And I'm like, okay, if I I don't have a red dot, I just use my iron sights, and I wanted to learn how to operate it properly without the gadgets first. And it takes a while to learn how to use it with a red dot as well, because you have to get that zeroed in, and then learn how, when you draw that weapon, finding that sight as quickly as possible, getting on target and firing that weapon. So I always continuing to get education, do some dry fire practices and drills at home. Make sure you have no ammunition in the room if necessary. Double, triple check. There are some really good websites or YouTube channels that have dry fire practices. You can put them on your TV screen, so they're really big for you, and they give the buzz and all that. So I say it's worth it. It is very much worth it. So if you can't afford, to take a class, then there's lots of free information out there. Now, all information ain't good information, as we are not legal experts either. Basic information and training such as dry firing, there's a lot of that's free, but just be sure about who you're getting your information from. Check out their credentials and make sure they know what they know, and they not the crazy security guy
right
that we talked about before. So yeah, and then of course bi-weekly there is the range days that the Henry Johnson Gun Club has. And this week, this Saturday, is going to be at TDSA and not ETTS. So it will be out in in Ferris this weekend for their range day instead of ETTS. So,
oh wow. Okay. Well, not that I'm available, because I'm mostly on weekdays are my best days, but that's good to know. I'll make sure to let those, because I talked to a few people who said they plan to go. I think they were going to show up at ETTS, but we have Joyce. She's ready to come on, but before she comes on, our guest for next week is out of the Washington D.C. area, and he is. I'm trying to. I thought I had it pulled up, but we have someone who's going to come talk with us about his his um, he's trying to get the state of Virginia to recognize certain rules and regulations about carrying a weapon, license to carry. And so if you want to know,
Galen.
Okay, thank you, Galen. Galen out of Northern Virginia, and
Mhm.
so Galen also is the president of his local chapter of NAGA, National African American Gun Association, and
Mhm.
so he is going to be our guest next week. So we'll have a guest, but for now, let's bring in Joyce. Joyce is going to join us. Hey, Joyce, welcome to the show.
Hey Joyce, how are you, lady?
No,
No.
we can't hear you. So at least, so we're gonna let you work on that, and we'll try to bring you back. But we also have Vicky Shorts. Vicky Shorts is on the line. Let's see what if Vicky has a comment or a question. Hey Vicky, how are you? All right, no audio from Vicky. So we're going to take Vicky out, but if you get it together with your audio, Vicky, we will try to bring you on. So in the last 8 minutes that we have,
Well,
so
ladies,
yeah,
the ladies tried. Yes.
ex- exactly. So we'll it's just takes practice, and we're
Mhm.
going to link up our show to we're going to try to link our show not only on YouTube but on our Facebook page. We'll start working
Mhm.
on that so people can just go to Facebook and see what we're doing and what we're talking about. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I was out at ETTS. What's that? Extreme Tactical and Training.
Training and practical, yes.
Yes. So that's in Waxahachie, Texas.
Mhm.
So that's one of the places where a lot of us go for our outdoor range activity, and where we have some of our events in that area. So if you're in the Dallas Fort Worth area and you're looking for a place to an outdoor range, and you want to link up with some 2A community advocates, that's where we go. You can always go to our Facebook page, and we can help you to get connected to the right people, like Phyllis said, that have proper training techniques and skills and information.
Mhm.
So we will let you, we'll help you with
And
that.
always check our events tab in the page, in the group page. The events tab will have any events that some of the other organizations or things that they're having, and we try to share that information with the community and with the ladies. So always check there to see what's going on around in and around, not just Dallas Fort Worth, but we have associations with groups all over the place in Florida. Miss, what's that? All over the place. Jeez.
Louisiana and Georgia
Yeah.
and Maryland,
Houston. Just
New
if
York,
if there's something that
Missouri.
if you don't know, just ask, and we'll get you in touch with the people that you need to get in touch with.
Exactly, exactly. All right, Phyllis. So it's been great. And I'm sure if you haven't already, viewers, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that when
Like, share,
we
subscribe.
have new information to share, you'll be the first to know. So we'll see you next week on another episode of Second Amendment Sis.
Everybody stay safe.
All right. Have a good one.